Salmine. Okay, very cool. Let me just put both of us here. Welcome. All right. Well, hi, everybody. Welcome to our show, Empower Your Health, Empower Your Life TV. This is Monica. And for those who are listening on YouTube and for those who will be listening to the recording, I really appreciate your time, your presence here. I appreciate you being here and just taking the time and attention out of your day. You're going to get a lot of value and a lot of inspiration from our fabulous guests today. So I'm so excited about what we're going to be presenting today. So welcome and thank you so much for your time. And so just a few words about our project. So Empower TV is dedicated to bringing you outstanding leaders, thinkers, pioneers, and change makers in the area of individual and community health. And the single goal is to bring you inspiration to take action and empower yourself and your communities. So today we have a guest that's a true role model of this kind of leadership. And this is why I reached out to her. And she's actually joining us all the way from Tunisia. And so we're connecting across the world, which is so exciting. So let me welcome Salmine Sassi, and she is an entrepreneur, a business consultant, and a gender equality advocate. She's the co-founder of She Starts Africa, a not-for-profit organization that's mission is to advance women through building their capacities in business, digital, and soft skills. Salmine works with entrepreneurs to help them make their ideas a reality and grow their businesses in the digital world. Salmine believes in the power of women leading communities and organizations and believes in the power of entrepreneurship to transform economies and solve socio-economic issues facing the globe. Learning and growing is what drives Salmine to always take the road less traveled and fight for the values of diversity and inclusion. Wow, I mean, this is so impressive, and I was just so impressed with Salmine and what she told me about herself and her projects that I just couldn't wait to have her on the show and have her share about her beautiful work with us. So welcome, Salmine. So appreciate your presence here. Thank you for joining us from the other side of the globe. I just love that connection that, we can have the connection all across the, so many miles, and we're both here. So welcome. How are you doing?
Thank you so much. I'm doing great. Thank you for the invitation. Thank you for holding this space. And I'm super humbled and grateful to be part of your community. And yeah, I'm pretty excited.
Wonderful. Well, welcome again. And yeah, so I mean, I cannot wait to hear about your work and, everything about you. So tell us, what's present for you these days? What's going on? Tell us a little bit more about what's happening.
Okay. Yeah, sure. So maybe the luck, because we have also lockdown in Tunisia because of COVID. Now we're going more and more into our normal days of going to work, and more places are open, like a gym. However, it was hard, like everyone else, to be at home for over a month, not seeing your family, not going out, not meeting your team. Especially for me, we had to reschedule a whole boot camp in my work in order to just stay home and be safe. But we managed, or I managed, to find a way to live through it. And so what I've been up to these days, or the past month and so, is just doing everything online, everything that I've been doing before online. So I took all of my trainings, my programs, my consultations, everything. And it's really fun and interesting because it keeps me busy. And that's my coping mechanism. To not feel lonely and alone, is just to connect with people from all over the world. So that has been really interesting journey to see how kind of the digital world saved us in a way during this lockdown and connected us. So it's interesting.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I know this is an area of your work, and that's where you actually help women get empowered. So yeah, so can you just tell us briefly, just to kind of give us an overview of what is your work about? What are you
Yeah,
doing? Yeah, in your
of course.
community, and yeah, just tell us generally, what you do.
Mm-hmm. So my organization is a non-for-profit organization called She Starts Africa. And the mission is, like you said, to advance women through building their capacities in entrepreneurial, digital, and soft skills through boot camps, trainings, hackathons, and different types of events. So, what we focus on, our values are to build a safe space for women where they can learn and grow without having to be judged all the time or scared or to like raise a hand and say something or ask a question. A safe space where you can be whomever you want to be, say whatever you want to say, and you are accepted, you are loved in this community. So that's kind of our driving value with She Starts Africa. And not a lot of people understand the power of having a space that's only for women, created by women, because we understand each other basically.
Right.
But it is really powerful to have a space, a training. For instance, if we have an entrepreneurial training, for instance, design thinking, and we have only women, then we have a more dynamic conversation. We have people like fighting for first place or helping each other out, or someone is going out and talking to people, and it's very dynamic and it's very cooperative. Whereas when it's different, like it's male and female and different ages, sometimes it gets competitive more than cooperative, which is fine. Competition is also healthy. Competition is also important. But if we're talking about advancing women through training and upskilling and reskilling, we need that kind of like safety, and that's what we try to deliver through our boot camps, online or offline. We haven't done any of our work on online before the lockdown, but now we're loving it. We have workshops uh, that go from entrepreneurship A to Z, investment, due diligence, whatever it is that's related to entrepreneurship as starting a business, to soft skills, mindfulness, meditation, the mindful entrepreneur, appreciating oneself, leadership of self, to digital skills, and that varies from quantum computing to blockchain technology to explaining different exponential technologies that are changing our world, to even giving workshops about productivity tools or small things that we can do during our day to be more efficient, um, softwares that we can use at our feet. It really varies, but the core focus is upskilling and reskilling.
Hmm.
She Starts Africa, but we're only in Tunisia right now. We've only had our trainings and boot camps in several regions, but in Tunisia. And so we're trying to go to different countries in Africa. There was our mission for this year, but this happened, COVID-19 happened. So we don't know how to get there, but we're working on it.
Wow. I mean, this sounds amazing. And like you have so many different areas that you're covering and helping women with. And I just love your understanding that, we respect competition. We respect, of course, we have to work men and women together, but, there's such a value actually bringing women together in one group and allowing that cooperation. I mean, I think this is really beautiful. How do you see the role of women and in Tunisia, in your part of the world?
Yeah. Well, in Tunisia, women have equal rights. We have very good gender equality reforms and regulations. So that's good. That's really good. It's we don't have a problem with like a pay gap or anything like that. So legally, yeah, we've have been doing great and making really good steps, having like really like good steps towards gender equality. But culturally, it's almost the opposite of that. So culturally, we still have views, opinions, unconscious bias. Most of the time, it's very unconscious, and it's unconscious bias against women leaders, women who are too courageous for this world. Um, well, for instance, when I was trying to go to the US to be incubated, I had a lot of people tell me, well, you're a girl, do your parents know about this? Or you should finish your education and get a job. I mean, is this normal for you? Or what is entrepreneurship for women? You should get like a stable job. But that's not for me. But I've heard these things even from people who are progressive. And so it's very related to culture and how we were raised since forever. And so we do view women differently than see men in the society, in the economy, but we don't do it intentionally, right? We do it, it's unconscious bias, but the work that we need to do now is to actually call it out, is to actually call it by its name and be, well, hey, you're doing this, you're saying this, I'm subconsciously being placed second, or I'm feeling threatened in this environment, or this is harassment, it's not okay. So our culture is very it's very fun and funny and like, but sometimes it gets to the point where everything is okay, but everything is not okay.
Mm.
So we get to the point where there is I wouldn't, it's not really harassment, but it's more of, well, it's funny, it's a joke, but you're a woman, sit down. And we hear this a lot, and it's a joke, but it does get to our brains subconsciously. And that happens where I feel like I'm second or I'm not good enough in that specific thing. And so I think with Tunisia, in the context of Tunisia, we need to call things by their name, and we need to say, this is wrong and this is not funny. Like, this is not a joke, this is not funny. And that's something we have been, as She Starts Africa, struggling with, finding a way to bring it to the conversation, finding a way to talk about these unconscious biases and like dark jokes that have hidden meanings and secrets and kind of violence against women in a way, verbally. And so yeah, that's the challenge, I think, is bringing up the conversation and including everyone in it, male, female, generation X, Y, and Z. So that's the challenge. But in terms of our own community, it's mostly women who are 18 to 35, who are either in university, or they're trying to change their career, or just trying to learn a skill. And so we come together, we have boot camps, and each boot camp has a theme, a specific theme. For instance, we had initiation to entrepreneurship, and that's for women in universities who want to see like this road, this path of entrepreneurship. And then we have different, multiple types of boot camps. And now we're working on new strategies and new training programs. So it's exciting.
Yes, I mean, it sounds incredibly exciting, and just that there's a part of fun and just enjoyment of being together. I love that too, with hard work, right? Becoming an entrepreneur. I mean, I'm just imagining how you are, kind of in this community. But you know what so it's really interesting because you were able to see the unconscious or subconscious biases. And I think you talk about Tunisia, but they still exist all around the world. And maybe they're not as, say in the United States, they may be not as strong, because there's maybe a little more history in terms of trying to work with that, but it's still there. And sometimes I think we become complacent in our part of the world. So that's what was coming up for me. And we can talk about it later if you wish. But I also was so curious that, you were able to identify those subconscious biases, and then you were able to take action and create something beautiful out of it to, remedy the things that are still not empowering to women in your society. So can you tell us more about your background, and where does your courage and your ability to see through that way come from? Tell us more about that.
Yeah, well, I think it's two things actually. It's my mom and oh, let's start with my mom. So my mom is a super powerful woman where at a very young age she had to drop out of school, of high school, because her father didn't believe that he believed she needed to take care of her sisters who are younger. She lived in a poor household in Tunis. She married my dad, whom she had not met before, so it was an arranged marriage. And she, at some point in her life, she changed her path, she changed her life, and she went to textile factories. She worked at a textile factory, and then she's very smart, so she picked up on the fabrication and like the sewing and all of that very quickly. And so she became, I don't know, like the had the lead of this factory. She studied English, she studied French. She like went through different trainings, and she stepped up and like showed up in her career. And a couple of years ago she launched her own small business, which is her own small textile factory company, and now she employs over 40 women. And so seeing my mom going through those stages in her life was very inspiring for me, because seeing her not taking a no for an answer, taking a risk, not letting anyone kind of disregard her work or not appreciate her or not respect her. And she will call you out if you're not respecting her. She's gonna call you out. That's a very powerful woman. That's the first thing that always comes to mind whenever someone asks me why are you doing this. That's the person who inspires me the most. And then the second thing is getting, so I have a genetic anomaly, and it's a very rare disease. There's only 87 people in the world that have it, and it affects, it's not a big deal like on the health level, but it affects the way I look. And so having to deal, and so I have it, my brother and I have this disease which is called cytostolemia. And so having to deal with that, the outcomes of that, um, the way sometimes even people interact with me or family interact with me, like, no, you don't have to help us out. You can rest. You have any, because I have anemia as well. Oh my god, I'm a health disaster, you guys.
You look very
But
healthy to me.
oh, thank you. But having to deal with that made me, I feel, I always say being sick is a privilege to me, because it helped me become someone who is strong and confident. And I truly love myself, because I had to deal with this thing since I was like, I don't know, 8 years old, and it gets worse by the year. And if I'm gonna dwell in my like own sorrows and be like, oh my god, then I'm not gonna achieve anything in life. But I'm someone who's very ambitious, and I have a lot of dreams and goals and hopes. And so I drive confidence and strength from that. And I look back whenever I have a down moment, I look back to when I was in high school or when I was in university, and I'm like, well, you're a strong woman, and like put myself up basically. Be like,
Wow.
you're strong, I love you, I'm proud of you. Did we cut off for a second?
Yeah, a little bit. You froze up a little bit, but I think this is good now.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's my life.
Yeah.
So my inspiration comes from my mom, and then
Wow.
my drive comes from not being like everybody else basically, and having to struggle with something that's actually a privilege, not a struggle, in my own view of things. Yeah.
Wow. I mean, this is so powerful when you say, and it really got my attention. You know, it's a privilege, not, it's a privilege actually to have this condition that you have, because it just made you such a strong and such an
Yep.
entrepreneurial person. I mean, this is beautiful. I think such an inspiration. And You know, it takes a lot of courage. And I mean, I really also want to honor your mom. And it's interesting, today in America, it's Mother's Day. So um,
Oh.
so what a good coincidence, you know, since your mom is such a huge role model and such an amazing lady, just hearing about her just this little bit. So I mean, and you just took advantage, or you really used those gifts to the full advantage and serving your community. So I just really want to honor you for that. It's truly inspiring, you know. And
Thank you.
yeah, so
Thank you.
and I know that you actually studied in the United States. And can you tell us more about, you know, how this journey unfolded and your background?
Mm-hmm. So for that, I would want to start with another reason why I am today an entrepreneur, is meeting my best friend, who is Mona. And so this person literally changed my life when I met her, because she's very dynamic and entrepreneurial. And at the time, I didn't know about entrepreneurship. I know I am not the 9 to 5 type of person. I know that I want to make impact. I volunteered a lot before I met her. I was very interested in like learning new things. Like I love books and documentaries and like watching new videos and news and all of that. I'm very curious. But when I met her, she drove me into the entrepreneurial world. And together we applied for MIT Enterprise Forum, which is a competition created by MIT. Um, and we have a Pan Arab one. So MIT Enterprise Forum for the Arab region. And so we applied, we got in, we got accepted. We went to the boot camp. We went to the competition. We were semi-finalists. And then we realized when we went there, these were people who are like 10 years older than us, who know what entrepreneurship is, who are like business model, yeah, revenue streams, yeah, they know everything. And we barely started learning about these stuff like 6 or 8 months ago. And so we looked at each other and we were like, well, we're not winning. We're probably not going to the finals. So we need to make an impression. So it was very interesting because each time someone we have us, because we were there for 4 or 5 days, not 3 days boot camp and then 2 days the competition. So during those 3 days, we had workshops and sessions and like small workshops with like certain experts from the region. And so each time someone comes and asks us to answer a question or to come up and pitch so they can use us as an example, we were the first 2 people to raise our hands, even though we know our idea is not good at all. We're like, we're not gonna do this. So we were like, well, we want to make the best out of this experience. We're not gonna win, but it's about the process. And I think I'm someone who loves the journey towards something, but not really the outcome. Like I love the journey. I enjoy what I do to get there. Whether I do or I do not, I'm still proud of the things I learned. So it was, and she's the same. So I went back home. Of course, we didn't win, but we did make an impression. I went back home, and one of the coaches there messaged me and she says, Salmine, I want to introduce you, or I want to recommend you to an incubator in Boulder, Colorado in the US. I think you'll make a great candidate. I was like, yes, please. So I did. She recommended me. I applied. I went through the interviews and like all of these phases. And then I got accepted and I got a scholarship of 75%, I think. So, and our currency is really like, doesn't have big value. And so I had to sponsor a remainder of my tuition fees, which is in dollars is not a lot, but in my currency is a lot of money. So what I did, and this was from May 2016 till August 2016. So every day I had no summer. I had no summer, no beach, no going out, no festivities, no dancing, nothing. So every day I go to, we have different economic cities, if you may, where you have most corporates. And so each day I go to one of these and I knock door by door, and I had this document where I had, well, this is who I am, this is where I'm heading, this is what Watson Institute is, this is the incubator in the US. And then this is, if you help me get there, this is what I can give you. And so I would say I would volunteer a certain amount of time to help your team, to work with you on different things, like, and I didn't have a lot of skills, so I was saying things like, well, writing a report, doing a market research or stuff like that. And of course I would put your logo everywhere, and I'm gonna become an entrepreneur. So this is so I would shout out at you anywhere whenever I start this business. um and so that's when I met a lot of people who told me, well, do your parents know about this? Well, things like, you're a woman, you should finish your education, well, or you're a woman, this is not a pathway for like everyone. You should get a fixed, stable job, which is something that very common in my culture, is to get a fixed, stable job and do that forever. It's not for me. But I persisted, and I remember one time I sat down in the middle of the street and I started crying, and I felt defeat. I felt like, well, this is it, I don't think I'm going. But then someone called me and she was like, well, I want to invite you to this event. Most rich people in Asia will be there. So come, bring your cards and then pitch to everyone. And I did that, and I got most of the fees through that event, and a little help from friends and family, and I managed to go. It was very interesting road to go to Watson. Very interesting. I've learned a lot from that. Definitely. The most important thing I think I learned is sales skills. I was selling myself. I was selling things I didn't even have yet. And I'm like, just give me the money so I can go.
Wow.
That was really interesting. So it's called Watson Institute, based in Boulder, Colorado. At the time, it was an incubator for social entrepreneurs. Now they are an incubator in Boulder. They are alternative, or they work with a university in Florida called Lynn University, and they have a joint bachelor degree in entrepreneurship, and they're scaling, and it's an amazing place. And that's where I learned everything that I know, honestly, about entrepreneurship, and I did it hands-on. So we used to have classes, workshops, master classes, homework, and then you have the work on your own business to do, and like go into a co-working space and meeting the community in Boulder. And it's very dynamic entrepreneurial community. So it was a very interesting place to be in at that time. And I spent 2 semesters there. It was the best time of my life. And my before going, well, it was to learn 4 more things of what my Tunisian me would learn in Tunisia. So if in Tunisia every day I'm learning 1 thing, during my time in the US I need to learn 4. So that was my goal. Is like, I need to pick up as many skills as possible. This is an opportunity to like learn from the best and learn how entrepreneurship actually works. And so I did that, and I lived in major poverty with my fellow entrepreneurs. That's the entrepreneurial life. We're not very wealthy people. We're wealthy in our heart and love, but not. And it was very interesting. Even the struggles to like get some money and like make food was very interesting. It was a very interesting time.
Wow. I mean, you were so driven, and it's almost like you had to succeed because you had such an amazing drive and such an amazing ambition, and just that energy. It's incredible. Do you remember, like, when you were in the midst? I mean, I can imagine. It's just, you said that it's the process, the learning, the getting the skills and meeting people. That seems like it's so important to you. Do you feel like there was a deeper drive that you had, even that?
Yeah, no, definitely. I'm an I'm an extrovert. So at the time I was a 90% an extroverted. Now I'm getting less and less of an extrovert. But at the time, I used to get my energy from people. So this is another thing that I did, is that I had a challenge to, so I was doing market research and customer discovery during the first cohort. And my challenge was to meet one person from Boulder and have one call from somewhere in Africa. And so I email people. I'm like, this is what I'm doing. Would you have 30 minutes to talk to me? And so I go and I meet people, and like that's how, where I get my energy from, is people's passion, love for changing the world. And it's not only entrepreneurship. That's what I actually understood, is it's not only entrepreneurship. It's not, being an entrepreneur is not the key for world's most pressing issues. It's one of the keys. You can do a lot to change the world and change your life and be an impactful person. Um, and so I get my drive and my passion from that, from like those amazing people that I met and talked to. And even now, whenever I have a down moment, I have pictures, like I'm in my room, and oh, you can see that's actually, okay, that's my
Yeah, yeah,
Watson
sure.
cape.
Oh,
That's my
wow.
Watson.
Yes,
That's my
it's
Watson
here.
cape,
Uh-huh.
and it
Very
says,
cool.
Watson, protect
Yes.
your courage. It says protect
Wow.
your courage, which is awesome. And I have pictures and like of people who inspire me, and I like look at them or go online and see what they have been up to, what have they been doing, and I'm like, well, I that's my energy right there.
Wow, it's amazing. What are, can you give us some example? Like what are the women entrepreneurs that inspire you most, that maybe we know about too?
Well, women entrepreneurs on the, okay, on the international level. Well, there's someone that I love a lot, and her name is, well, she's a CEO. She's not very entrepreneurial. She's Sheryl Sandberg, the CEO of Facebook, and she has two
Wow.
books that I read. One is Lean In, and one is Option B or Option A. So she says, and this is a quote, she says in her book, that is my drive in my life since I read the book. And she says, option A is not available, so let's kick the shit out of option B. And that's so important to me, is
Wow.
always, life is not black and gray. We're not binary. We're not computers. We don't work in one and zeros. We have a lot of gray, and we should be optimistic about the future and do something about it. Not just stay and see the world to change for us, or people find solutions to us, but try to do something and find those solutions for ourselves. And that's why that quote like resonates a lot to me. And I saw a lot of entrepreneurs during my time at Watson who are just amazing. And they are male and female. I'm not going to say just female,
Mhm.
who believe in diversity and inclusion and equality between all sexes, all genders, all people from all colors and religions and ethnicities. Um, and I respect that a lot. I met someone from Nepal. He's from Nepal, his parents live in Germany. He studied in the US, and he started his business in Costa Rica. And his co-founder is from South Africa. And that's like, those two are the most inspiring people ever, because they made it work. And they empower women in Costa Rica, like coffee makers, female coffee makers in Costa Rica, and that's amazing. Um, so those type of entrepreneurs and change makers who make the world a better place, but also inspire the rest of us to do something about it, even if it's very minimal. In Tunisia, for instance, we have a startup that's advocating towards circular economy, reusing clothes and slow fashion, because in Tunisia we don't have a lot of awareness around that. So that's very inspiring to see people working for that. And it's not about the money and the profit, but it's about, well, this is gonna change this country.
Hmm.
And that's very, very inspiring.
Yes, yes, because you are a social entrepreneur, and I mean, changing your country and changing the world. It's really the name of the game. rather than just making money out of it. So I mean, this is a sort of a multidimensional thing,
Mm-hmm.
and obviously we need to make money. We need to create funds, and this is a part of it.
Money is
Well,
important.
yeah, absolutely. But I feel like you just really you embrace so much, and you're a very young person, so like there's such future in front of you. I'm just so excited about it too. Yeah. So can
Thank you
you
so
tell?
much.
Yeah. So when you came back from Boulder, and did you? Was it when you started as She Starts Africa? How did that go? I think you froze up a little bit, but we'll just wait.
I think we're back, right?
Yes, you're back now.
Okay. Yeah. So no, when I came back from Boulder, I got depressed because I thought in my utopia that I'm gonna come back and investors will be waiting with their money so I can launch with my startup. And I got depressed because of a lot of things. I I felt out of place. I felt like I didn't belong. I don't know. I spent 6 months doing several things and not doing anything good or to the point. And so I had a very bad experience with, so I have been working and studying since I started my university, and I went to Boulder during my junior year. And so when I came back, I volunteered with a woman who at the time I thought inspired me and I looked up to. But then going through that volunteer internship experience of 1 month, I understood the importance of what I'm trying to do and what I'm trying to bring to my community is a space where women pick each other up rather than put each other down.
Mm-hmm.
And that experience of that month brought me down a lot. Um, and I'm not gonna talk about it, but I saw how women should not be treating each other. Like I saw that the not, if it makes any sense, that we should
Yeah.
not do. And I was like, well, this is the time. Like I don't want to be treated that way. I don't want other women to be treated that way. And we need to have role models. There must be female role models in Tunisia who are feminist in some way in their definition of feminism, who advocate for gender equality, who treat people with respect and acceptance, and you know. And so the first thing I started She Starts Africa after 8 months from coming back from the US, and I did a lot of mistakes with like management and the team and all of that, but I learned a lot from it, and I still am learning every day. And I met my co-founder in 6 months later after starting She Starts. So I launched She Starts in January 2018, and I met my co-founder Safi in July of 2018, and that was a the biggest change that I've ever had, because She Starts Africa was for me workshops and programs, and she made it a community. So it was thanks to her that now we have a community and we have a presence online. Is It was thanks to her, because for me it was just doing boot camps, going to women from different like female led SMEs, and then finding female led startups, and then going to universities and finding like clubs and asking them to bring their female members, and then we have a session together. But when I met her, it was a total change, because she believed in building community and evangelists and creating our own champions, and going out there and finding our role models and bringing them on board. And that's what happened. Like now we do have a community. It's not big, but we do talk to each other. They're pretty active. It's a really safe space that we talk about everything. We're going from just skills building and capacity building to advocacy, to having like some sort of roundtables and talking about conversations that are taboos in a way, holding a space for everyone to share their experiences, their pain and their gains. um, and that was thanks to my co-founder, honestly. Like If it was only me, it would have been just one workshop a week.
Wow, what power in collaboration, you know, finding your partner and just kind of bringing your two different aspects of your genius together, and it just feels like it was just meant to be. Wow,
Mm-hmm.
incredible. So, and how do you? So I know that you want to be expanding beyond Tunisia, and so how do you see the future for your community and for your enterprise? Where do you see yourself going?
Mm-hmm. So we want, our main program is initiation to entrepreneurship, and we want to see that program being duplicated with respect to each country's dynamic, to be replicating in different regions in Africa. So that's a dream of mine, is like to go to Nairobi, Kenya, and deliver this bootcamp and have women on board and have women start their small businesses and startups, or even if they don't start it, just learning about those skills during 1 week would be a dream for me, and that's what we're working on right now. But because we realize that going from one country to another and being a small startup might not be the easiest thing right now, we decided to take everything. We understood that online is actually very interesting, and
Mhm.
people are digitally aware in a way, not savvy, but aware of what's going on in the digital world. And so we're having or launching a platform in the coming couple of months where we have our trainings, our community, and everything online, and we can grow our pipeline, and we can reach out to more young aspiring female leaders from across the continent, hopefully, um, and hold discussions maybe in small rooms and with multiple people from multiple regions, but also have courses and classes and programs specific to each region of the continent. We don't know how the programs are going to look like online through the platform, but we are testing what can work and what should not and cannot, and super excited.
Wow, it's amazing. And it almost like it was a blessing in disguise what happened with, you know, having to be at home because you really got deeper into how to use the digital tools. And it seems like this is the way to go for now. It's
Hmm.
amazing.
Can I add just one thing?
Yeah.
Well, sometimes people, entrepreneurs, or project owners tend to fall in love with their product or service or startup or whatever it is. And then if that does not work out the way they wanted to work, then they give up and they lose courage and ambition.
Hmm.
And I wanted to say that throughout this process, I was always aware of the failure and always aware of, well, this is my vision in life. My vision in life is to help in any way, shape, or form, help bridge the gender gap in the economy and help more women gain, or help advance more women through whatever experience or expertise that I have. And that's my vision. Whether that vision is through She Starts Africa Now or XYZ later, that's
Hmm.
fine. And oftentimes we tend to go in a depressive mode and then go, like, to an extent, destroy our lives and go get a 9 to 5 job. Even that's not for us. But just I wanted to say to the entrepreneurs right there, keep pushing and keep trying. But if it's not meant now, then maybe later. And yeah.
Yeah, this is so important, you know. Like what you say is that we get married to the idea that it has to work this way, and if it doesn't, then we just give up. But this is not the way to go because the world will bring you all different obstacles, and it will bring you
Mm-hmm.
different. But you also, you know, you can see encouragement and ideas and ideas for actually becoming better and becoming more
Mm-hmm.
effective from just the world bringing you those challenges. And it's just really powerful. I think that's like the true entrepreneur, where you're not just kind of, you're not stuck on your own idea and having to have it your way, but you actually are just responding to what's happening out there, to what's happening with your communities, to what people need, to what the world is actually bringing to you. So that I think this is what it sounds like. This is really making you effective and successful in what you do.
Definitely, yeah, 100%.
Wow, that's amazing. So, and how, I was just curious. So, how many women are currently involved in the project? If you have a like a general idea.
We, in terms of numbers, we had workshops and boot camps that impacted directly 250 women. But in terms of the online trainings we've been having, we've reached 103, and that's the registration. Those are the people who were registered. And then in terms of the community we created is around 1,500 women, but not everyone is active, right? Not everyone is active, not everyone is there. So yeah.
Yeah, it's really impressive. 1,500, it's a lot of people and a lot of women's lives. And I believe, you know, it's not just their life changed, because their communities are changing as they are. So you're making a huge impact on the world already.
I hope so, yeah.
Yes, you are. And
so I hope so.
I can see that. And so, like, if you, like, in your biggest dream, like, if everything were to come true and you would see, like, you know, your true dream coming to life, like, what would that be?
Okay. A dream. Okay, I do have a dream. Well, okay. So my view on dreams is different than other people. So I have objectives, and I need to get to those objectives. Like, I have deadlines to myself, like, in 20 years I have to be here, in 15 years I have to be here. A dream would be, I feel like dreams are something that I want to happen, but maybe it wouldn't. So that's why I don't have like dreams, but I have big objectives. Like, I have huge objectives of like, I want to be, at some point in my life, I want to win a Nobel Prize for peace, and I want to be involved in decision making when it comes to gender equality and human rights violations across the world. And I want to be an entrepreneur who goes from one country to another in Africa and help female entrepreneurs create their businesses. And I want to work with impact investors and help create startups in Africa that are based on like cutting edge technology. And so I want to do all of these things, and I want to work towards doing all of these things. But in terms of dreams, I'm very unrealistic. I'm not realistic at all in terms of my dreams. So my dream would be to fly. My dream would be to go to Mars, to like have superpowers, or like an alien invasion. I'm a weird person, by the way. I'm very weird.
I don't think you're weird. You're just exceptional. You know, you have amazing drive and you have amazing ability to actually make it real. So I can see why, you know, dream may not be the idea. It's really actually objective, because that's what becomes true, right? That's what you can actually make real in your world.
Yeah, in my own personal perspective, and that's not a reality for anyone else but me. So yeah.
No, this is good. I think you already are living your dreams, you know, because you're making that impact and you're changing women's lives in your country. But, you know, soon enough, it's going to be expanding in you know, in the African countries. And you know, with your drive and energy, it's amazing. So I mean, so if you were like I know you gave us so much already, like if you were to give our listeners, you know, something to think about, or, you know, a message or an idea, like for people who are maybe really trying to make an impact in the world and trying to change and help their communities, like what would you say for us to take with us and kind of take as a message, such like a, like, you know, like a gift from this conversation?
Okay, so the first thing that came to mind was empathy, is leading and driving with empathy and being empathetic towards everyone around you. Sometimes us um, progressive people, I might say, tend to be unempathetic towards those who are not as progressive and tend to not understand them. And I think you would not solve the problems you're trying to solve if you don't empathize with all of the stakeholders. Um, and for me in my work, I need to empathize with those who don't believe women should be equal to men and understand their perspective and try to argument with them, with them from their perspective. Um, and so empathy really goes a long way, but also taking risks. So something else I've learned is I'm never afraid of taking risks, and it's very scary, but it's worse if you take no risks in life than when you take a risk that scares you, because that's when you get like the adrenaline and like you feel the power that you have from within. You are proud of yourself, of that decision that not everyone make. Like not everyone quit their jobs to do a business that's not going to get you any money for 2 years. um, if you believe that's what's meant for you, then yeah, take that risk. If you want to, well, now with COVID, but if you want to travel and go to a different country and live the experience, then do that. So taking risk is very, very important. Empathy, taking risk. And then the third thing is values are very important to me, and having like values and being true to yourself and the values you've created for yourself and your community and your organization. Even though we're empathizing with everyone else, we should not let go of our values, and we should not be okay when we see something that's wrong in the world around us and just not say anything about it. And I'm saying this because I saw a lot of videos and articles that talk about like times when people just stood and didn't say anything. And so that's very important also to me on a personal level. And yeah, I'm very honest, I'm bluntly honest, I talk about everything, but I'm empathetic.
Yes. Wow.
Well, that's it. And good luck.
Wow, this is so powerful. I just love it. Empathy, but also stand by your values and just speak up if you see something. You know, we have to have that power to speak up and don't be afraid. And don't be afraid to take risks. I love that. I mean, this is helping me too. Thank you so much. I feel like, wow, I get so inspired. I get so inspired because it's so important. You know, sometimes we're just afraid to take that step. We really want something. We have that objective. We have that need. We know we can change so many things, but taking risk can be scary because we're afraid we're going to lose something. But honestly, we're losing more if we're not taking the risk, right? We're losing our future. So wow, thank you so much for that, Salmine.
Thank you.
And I mean, this has been amazing to listen to your story and to your wisdom. And I mean, I feel like you have such an amazing future in front of you. And I just cannot wait, like, you know, in a few years to hear about you, like all over, you know, making this huge change for women in Africa and uniting. Yes, absolutely. I think this is an amazing vision, and you know, bringing the power of technology, but bringing it together with the community and the power of empathy and the human heart. I mean, this is something that I think we all need. Like, we need to step up to that next level, and you know, don't forget who we are as human beings. So I feel like I'm so blessed and I'm so grateful that I found out about you and that you were able to come into to this show and share about yourself. So my utmost gratitude to you, and I'm wishing you, you know, like amazing success. And I know
it's so much.
The road is winding, but a lot of women, a lot of people are going to benefit from what you do to the world. So thank you
Thank
again
you.
so much. And yes, wow, such a
Thank you
pleasure.
for the invitation and for this amazing space and opportunity. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you, Salmine, and I hope we'll keep in touch, and I'll be looking out to hear about you making those huge strides and changing the world. And thank you, everybody, for joining us today. And I hope that you got a lot from this conversation, that you are going to be inspired, and you're going to uh, take risks, and always remember to stay in your heart and stay in your truth and in your values, because I think this is the biggest message today that Salmine brought to us. But thank you again, and stay tuned for our shows. Please subscribe to our channel, Empower Your Health, Empower Your Life TV. And my blessings to everybody. All right.